So this is gonna be in their deblog soon. Let's see. Changes to commander skills. Close test 12.1 or 12.10. With the release of update 12.10, we plan to make changes to some of the commander skills for battleships, cruisers, and destroyers. We have gathered both the statistical data and player feedback over time and reworked some of the outdated, unpopular, or underperforming skills to make them more useful in battle. Consumable Specialist. Battleship, Cruisers, Destroyers, Line 1. Remove the following effect. Okay. They removed everything it did and added cooldown time of all consumables except damage control and repair party. 7.5. For unique commanders, minus 10%. Minus 10%, so that's going to be insanely good on a variety of light cruisers. I mean, especially shit like Minotaur. For 1 pointer? For 1 pointer, you'll get, especially like the likes of Wooster, Grozoboy. Any radar DDs in general, all radar DDs are going to love this shit. For 1 point, the speed boost, the radar, the hydro, the smoke. It's suddenly an actually pretty valuable 1 pointer. Because right now it's garbage. Because there's literally, you don't need any of these skills that it's buffing. But the new one being 10% and buffing everything except healing is actually really, really good. Now the skill will affect a greater variety of consumables, which means they will benefit the absolute majority of the ships. In order to balance this out, we decided to slightly decrease the bonus itself. I mean, that's probably a pretty good change. That's probably a pretty good change. I can see them maybe even running that on Venezia now. On the fast reloading smoke Venezia, legendary mode Venezia. It's pretty interesting now. Preventive and maintenance, battleships, destroyers, line 1. Added the following effect. Increased HP of AA guns, increased HP of secondary guns, 20%. I mean, you run it on some BBs, like you run it on shit like Schlieffen, but I think especially for destroyers, especially on destroyers, 20% on top of already the reduction in shit breaking. I don't think this is actually going to change any builds. It's just gonna make PM more useful on builds that already used PM. I don't think it's gonna make someone suddenly spec into it. But ships that you already spec'd are going to spec it in the future, I would assume. But this makes it absolutely, yeah, someone said it was already good on Schlieffen. Now it's basically going to be a guaranteed pick on Schlieffen. I don't see why you wouldn't. Super heavy AP shells. Line 3. Wait, what? Oh. Shit, can we? Super heavy AP shells. Line 3. Added the following effect. Fire damage received minus 10%. Flood damage received minus 10%. Wait, what the fuck? Super heavy. What the? So what does it have right now? Plus 25, plus 25. So now it's going to be what? Plus 15, plus 15. So they reduced it from reduced the penalty from 25 to 15%. I would assume. I would assume it's pretty poorly formulated, but I'm pretty sure they reduced the current from 25 to 15. So it's still a penalty, but it's less of a penalty. Still 25% time, just 10% damage. Wait, really? It's still 25% time, but the damage per tick goes down? Okay, that's pretty confusing. But that makes the base, that's gonna make it pretty mandatory if you're running a Furious build. It's gonna make it pretty mandatory to run a Furious build. So 10% per tick, but minus 10% per tick, but still duration 25. Okay. Interesting. Added a new effect that can be activated on the improved repair part. This thing then. Yeah, this is the one. You only really run this on shit like Illinois and you can run it on Incomp. Basically low HP, tanky, fairly stealthy battleships you can run that shit on. Added a new effect that can be activated. Receive additional 1+ charge of repair party for receiving 3 million potential damage once per battle. I don't know if that's still going to... I don't know, it makes it more valuable. But I'm not sure if you'd still run it on things you wouldn't normally run it on. Because 3 million potential is kind of hit and miss. If you get it or not. It can be good. It can be really good late game. But you need to reach late game first. And you need to rack up the potential. And getting potential damage in World of Warships is kind of inconsistent. Like, if you're being tortured by a sub, you're eating massive damage, but you're not getting much potential. If you're being struck by a carrier, you're not really taking much potential damage, you're just eating damage. Then on the other hand, one Minotaur spamming you can rack up like 2 million potential in the blink of an eye without you even doing anything. He just racks it up really quickly. 3 million is a lot of potential. And I feel like you're quite unlikely to get it with any sort of consistency. And even then, if you do pick it up, the game might already be lost by then. And that getting an extra heal isn't going to change it around. I mean, it makes the skill more valuable, but I don't think it's going to make it that much more valuable. Not necessarily poor choice. It's cool to have some more variation to it. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? We have... Yo, long, holy, is screenshotting for... Okay, who's taking the screenshot? Hello? Okay, someone who's... Focus fire training, cruisers, line 2, battleships, line 3. Added the following effect. Focus fire training? Oh, cruisers, line 2. Wait. Okay, so the AA skill? AA skill at tier 2. Immediate damage when activating the priority sector. Plus 1.5... Wait, what? Immediate damage when activating plus 1.5%. Okay, that's 1.5. That's nothing. Airstrike armament reload time from 10 to 15. Okay, that's nice for the Dutch and ASW in general. Aircraft preparation time. When you activate the priority AA sector, enemy squadrons in its range immediately receive damage based on squadron's HP. At the moment, without using the skill, cruisers and battleships deal immediate damage equal to 3.5% of enemy squadron damage, and the skill buffs it up to 5. Oh, so that's what they're buffing. They're buffing the instant tick of damage from 3.5 to 5. But that's still not very good, because the problem with Reinforced Sector is that it deals current HP. If it was max HP based, which meant it always dealt the same damage, it would be useful. But if a squadron is low HP, you're dealing 3.5% of the remaining health. So if it's a squadron that has 2,000 health, you're dealing, what, 100 damage if you deal 5%? Whereas if it has 10k health, you're dealing, once again, 5% from it. It's, I don't know, 500 damage. Like, it scales off. It drops off really quickly. I think mostly this is gonna be good on ships that are already using it. Like, you're not gonna change your build because of it. This is gonna be useful on ships that are already using it. It's gonna be useful on ships that are already using it, which is well, mostly Dutch cruisers. They use it for the airstrike and they're gonna continue using it. This is gonna make people change their playstyles all of a sudden. Secondary Armament Specialist, Cruiser Line 3. Renamed Enhanced Torpedo Explosive Charge to Secondary Armament Specialist and added the following effect. Added. Okay. Secondary battery firing range plus 20%. There are cruisers that actively use the secondaries, however, there aren't many skills to provide bonuses because you removed them. This change will make the skill useful to a bigger pool of ships. Okay, so this thing. So they're not removing the 15% damage. They're giving secondary range back. That's interesting. That's obviously going to be really good on shit like Napoli. Especially for randoms, with the extra range and extra torpedo damage. And Eger hits as torps and secondaries. Yeah, like, there's a fair few ships that are absolutely going to benefit from this. But once again, I feel like it's ships that... well, there are some exceptions. It might be interesting. It might open up something new. Schroeder for sure. Schroeder is gonna love that ship. I think they added it because Schroeder was such a meme. Doesn't give any accuracy bonuses though, which means of course if your accuracy is already poor, and you don't have any special modifiers for it, it's going to be even wider of spread. Okay, Furious, Battleship Line 4. Remove the following effects. Main battery reload time -5. Dispersion of shells fired by enemies -5. Okay, so Furious has been completely revamped. That's the one when you have a fire on you, you get bonuses. Added the following changes. Improves your ship's characteristics for each active fire and or flooding on board your ship. So the first fire, flooding, main battery reload -10. Second and each consecutive flooding up to 6, main battery reload time -5. Whoa. Fires and floodings can be extremely frustrating, especially when you don't have damage control up. This skill will partially compensate for the inconvenience by providing the ship with a significant bonus to main battery reload. Additionally, it can be combined with the updated super heavy AP shields to reduce both fire and flooding damage. Wait, that's actually insane. Because you can build Furious and fire prevention now. You can build Furious, heavy AP, and fire prevention. You get that one fire that burns for a really long time on your superstructure, and you get a permanent 10% reload buff, and it's going to burn for a really long time, but because you get fire prevention and this shit, it's actually not going to do a whole lot of damage. So it's going to be like permanent 10% reload plus 7.5% damage. That's a lot of extra damage you're pumping out in a battleship. That could be really strong, actually. That could be really goddamn strong. Dazzle. Added a new bonus to the activated effect. Reduces the accuracy of hostile fire directed at your ship and increases her speed for 15 seconds after ship has been detected. 8% ship speed. Oh god. This is like BFK's nightmare. People are actually going to be running a shit ton of Dazzle, aren't they? Yo, imagine Jaeger players with Dazzle. They're faster and now even harder to hit. I'm not sure if the 8% speed, though, for such a small time will be enough to justify it, but it's gonna make it more attractive for sure and more popular. Wargaming buffing useless skills, that's good. They should be buffing for very rarely used skills. AA Defense and ASW Expert Battleships, Line 2, Cruiser Line 4. Okay, changes the color. Battleship. Continuous AA damage 10 to 15. Damage 10 to 15. Activated effect. Bro. Wait. Activated effect improves your ship's characteristics when her AA guns are active. Ship consumable preparation and reload time from 15%, -15 to -40. So they're talking about this skill here. This skill, and on battleships it's this one. This is still garbage, though. This is still garbage. The reload buff that you get is only active when your AA guns are shooting, which is such a small percentage of the time that it's all the consumable reload buff is basically unnoticeable. Like, you might notice it if a carrier is constantly focusing you and being convenient enough to hover in your AA. But most of the time what happens is the carrier goes in for a strike and then recalls his planes. You spend maybe 5 to 10 seconds actually shooting your AA, and you hit a shit ton of damage, and then the planes just go away, and you're basically wasting. Basically, if you run into a Soviet CV, the skill is completely irrelevant. It doesn't do anything, because it just goes in with single squadron and recalls. So it's complete garbage. And also, improving the damage from 10 to 15, like the AA is already a joke. Adding 5% to a joke doesn't make anyone laugh. It's just tragic at this point. It's nowhere near enough. These values are nowhere near enough to actually defend yourself. It's a joke. Cruisers, they get the same 5%, more consumable. No, that's not enough. This is not enough. This is, like, their AA changes are a joke. All their AA changes are a joke. But this Furious change is actually potentially really nuts. Actually, potentially really nuts. Yo, there we go. Holy shit. Battleships are gonna do more damage.
I don't think the super heavy AP is gonna change anything, but the improved repair party readiness is insane.
No, what's insane is the new Furious. The new Furious is gonna be so nuts with super heavy.
Bro, your liaison sucks. I only got like half of this. What?
Oh, okay. Wait, shit.
I only got to improve repair party readiness. I never saw Furious.
I don't think the improved the improved thing is gonna be that good.
I thought you were talking about the super heavy AP.
No, the super heavy AP. Super heavy AP is actually going to be really good because what you know what they're doing there. I thought at first they're reducing the damage from 25 to 15%, but that's not actually what they're doing. They're keeping the same 25% duration, but they're reducing the tick damage by 10%. So you get to have a fire burning on you for a longer time while dealing less damage. And then there you got the second one. Look at the Furious skill. There it is. You're hovering on it. The Furious skill. That thing is gonna be completely cracked.
So now it's a base of 10%. Yeah.
Yeah, with one fire. So you can run fire prevention and just have one long fire burning on your superstructure and get a perma 10% reload buff. And you can run super heavy AP as well. And you get permanent 10% reload and 7.5% damage, like with basically no real downsides.
Okay. When you combine it with this, I can understand it a bit more. I only got the first screenshot, so it didn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, the AA's buffs are a joke. They're nowhere near enough. And then they're making the torpedo skill give you secondary range as well, which means Napoli and Jäger and Schroeder are all going to be running it. Perma. Was there a mention
Dazzle now gives you 8% speed?
Yeah, but 15 seconds.
Only for 15 seconds.
Potatoes are going to run it, I think. I don't think anyone actually good, but it's going to be...
no.
You know what's going to suck, though? Jäger players with that thing. Because you know they're going to spick it.
Well, it'd need to be like 20% speed for 15 seconds to be worth anything.
Yeah, no, just a standard speed boost, it's garbage. It's still a new bit.
It needs to just be the whole time you're defected, actually. Like, whatever. Dazzle. Fire and flooding can be extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
This skill will partially compensate for the inconvenience.
Inconvenience, by the way. Like, they haven't added two massive griefing classes that provide dots on demand. No, the Furious one is going to be... The Furious with the super heavy is going to be really interesting.
I like how they specify that it can stack up to 6 times. Which is funny, because if you're on a quad fire and a double flood, I think your reload is the least of your concerns.
You're dead.
Why am I taking 5,000 a dot? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's going to be fun with a Schlieffen coming around the corner on a quad fire. Reloading every 15 seconds on your end. But to be fair, it's not like the guns are the problem, it's the secondaries anyway.
Yeah, main guns on the Schlieffen. I wouldn't even.
No, but all those AA skills, they're a joke. They're literally giving 5% more to all of them, like as if 5% to the AA skills is going to change anything in the current state of the game. And I still think that consumable buff that they're giving as a bonus is complete new bait.
Chat, don't tell him about my Santander build.
What is your Santander build?
I don't have the AA skill.
You're running it?
No. I actually have never thought that the AA skill is all that bad. The thing I've always thought is that it just only ever works in defending yourself against a carrier. But if you're not getting attacked by a carrier, it's -4 points.
Like, I can
the
only
other
see...
options were top grade gunner or outnumbered, and I don't think either of those is that valuable on Santander right now.
True, but I mean, only really gimmick ships are gonna benefit from that consumable thing. Because like, if you're being struck by a carrier, getting slightly better consumable cooldown isn't gonna help you for shit.
Okay, but and here's a big but to this.
Oh.
If you have never run a full AA build Worcester or Petro Pavlos with Def AA.
Oh, I have.
Shat on a carrier instantly.
Yeah, but
you need to do it at least once.
But like, it's really funny if they fly straight into your flank. It's really funny then, and it's really funny if you don't run into a Soviet CV. But when you get that shit, it's just.
Well, no, Soviet CVs ruin everything, but against the intended design of the rework, all that effort they put into. Sure, it was funny for a time.
I thought they
It's like the
intended-
old Moskva, kind of, in a way.
I thought the intended design was to grief the player base.
Huh? No, CVs don't grief players, other players. They just simply interact in a different way, which is typical for an asymmetric video game.
Truly. Oh, the YY is actually pretty interesting. With that new 1-point skill. That new 1-point skill is actually interesting. The one that gave you faster consumable reload. The new Yu Yang can basically gets perma smoke. If you're running
It
smoke
applies to
YY.
smoke? Well, you should run smoke YY, but yeah.
I mean, no, radar. That's the manly mode.
Okay. How much DPM?
0.
Yeah.
But it's a thought that counts. I feel like the one that got the most interesting playstyle options from that patch was all BBs, though.
Oh, of course. I mean,
Like, no other skill seems as interesting as the BB changes. The heal is interesting somewhat to some ships, and then the whole Furious Heavy AP combination is interesting.
well, improved repair party readiness is already really good on a St. Vincent, but now a St. Vincent that can get a 5th super heal.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Seems
about
a
St.
little
Vincent.
sketchy.
I just thought about like Incomp and Loria in Illinois, but yeah, you run it on Vinny. Oh
Yeah.
shit, that's actually Ebola.
And they'll never nerf St. Vincent because they just haven't yet at this point, so.
Yeah, man. If they won't touch Conde or Annapolis, I guess they're never touching that thing.
Gegnerische Streitkräfte entdeckt.
I think I've just suppressed the existence of St. Vincent from my memory or something.
Okay, so here's my one question on this one. If I can run a secondary skill on cruisers that gives me plus 20%, how does that work with Napoli and Schroeder?
I mean, more range. And plus you buff
Yeah,
your 50% to your torpedo damage as well.
Yeah, well, I didn't even look at that. But doesn't Schroeder have like 10.6 concealment and 10.5 secondaries or something like that?
Oh yeah.
So if my secondaries
Still?
can shoot up to 12, how does that work? So the secondaries just shoot and I'm sitting in stealth?
No, but
Because,
that's why they changed something. They recently released a patch, by the way. I forgot about that. They recently said that your secondary range now matches your main gun range. And they said the reason they changed what that was because of Cyclone. But you want to bet it was because of these upcoming patch notes. So, no, you can't stealth fire secondaries.
So
That's
when
why
your
they
secondaries
changed
open
that
up,
thing.
your concealment will balloon out. Okay. That makes more sense.